Okay, let me introduce you before we get leagues down the road. Hi everyone, my name is Miranda Rodriguez and I'm your host of the Marketing Uninhibited podcast, and I'm here with Melissa Rhonda today of Honest Way. Sorry, I almost said Honestly Melissa, but that's your podcast, right? And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Melissa Rhonda, and I am a weight loss nutritionist. I've had my business, The Honest Way, for 5 years now. And I started my business because I was obese my whole life. And it really shaped my relationships with everyone, my relationships with myself, with food, and like handling my emotions. So when I shifted and lost like a massive amount of weight and got really strong, I realized that it was so much more than like, don't eat carbs, right? You know, it was like, it's unearthing like everything about you, and like the fitness, the nutrition, like all that shit's important, but it's a whole body experience.
Absolutely. And it impacts every other aspect of your life, which I think people forget. Like they're like, oh, health is here and my workouts are here and my business is here, but it's all connected.
Totally.
It all works together.
Oh my God. Everything that I've learned about like resiliency in business is exactly the same as strength training or watching what you're eating. Anytime that you're putting, like you come up with a plan, you come up with a goal, a desire, whatever, and then you put the steps in place, it's exactly the fucking same as a weight loss journey.
Which is the same. I've listened to some of your podcasts now, and I went back to the beginning because I like to see where everyone starts. The first one, someone's like talking, maybe your husband is like laughing at you or something. It was hilarious because you're like, are you laughing at me? Or maybe it was live. I don't know. It was really funny.
God, don't encourage anyone to go back to that shit in the beginning.
Everyone should see where everyone else starts, because you hit like your podcast is great. You're very open and like emotional, and then you go in these ways that I didn't think you were going to go. Like you were...
I usually don't know I'm going there either.
Yeah, which is great.
I'm not a planner.
But you were saying how like... you make a plan and then executing the plan, and how you have to show up for yourself, and like you're not going to go to their house and knock the cookie out of their hand. Yeah. Because it was episode 8, I think, and you were real pissed. You were like, I had this something else to say today, and I'm going to scrap that, and you like went in. Yeah. And it was, for a second I thought you were going to cry, and then I realized like, oh, she's just angry now.
Yeah. Usually I'm not a crier. Yeah. Usually my hurt will come out in anger. Yep. But
do you get mean?
I get sort of like a bear with a paw caught in the trap. Like I'm not necessarily lashing out at you, but just don't fuck with me. Right. But I think that probably that specific episode, like, I just lost my dad last year. Oh, yeah. To obesity.
Really?
Yeah. And I am super triggered. Like, I have a lot of masculine energy, and I'm super triggered by women who are like, well, you're not checking in with me, and you're not this, or you're... I'm like what? At what point is it your responsibility?
Where do you take ownership of your life?
Yeah, because that's the answer, right? Like, and to just give people the answer is not helping them. No. It's forcing them. Like, I have a rule. If I have a client that asks something of me, I always answer it with a question.
Ooh, that's good.
Because what they want to do is they want you to do the thing for them. Right. And as a coach, it's your responsibility to show them that the power is within themselves, you know?
It is, and it's with marketing consulting too, because I'm a consultant, so I don't execute. I advise, I help you make a plan, and then I support you through the execution of that plan, but I'm not going to go into your Facebook and make these posts for you.
Super similar, right?
Very similar. But then they want you to tell them how to fix their business, or they want a quick result. I don't know how many people come to me and like, okay, but I'm short on cash. I'm like, well, okay, then I'm probably not who you need to see in this instance, because it's not a quick fix. Like, if that's the case, then I recommend getting a side hustle or a part-time job while we figure this out, because it's a long-term solution. But they have to show up for their business, and they have to take ownership of their plan. Like, if we create a plan together, I can't do it for you.
Right.
And in some cases, right, there are people that will do that for you. So you can...
Yeah, that's a service.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that line can get blurred because I think there's a lot of, frankly, bad coaches out there.
Yeah.
That's not coaching.
Right.
That's enabling.
Exactly.
And I don't enable anyone. You know, that's like been a big thing for me over the past year, is working on boundaries.
Did you used to enable people?
Oh my God, yeah. Like, that's how it all started. So I was obese. I will give you the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
Really, really rough upbringing. Okay, so I'll just give you the Cliff Notes. But at points, I had been abusing alcohol. I was addicted to prescription drugs.
Oh my gosh.
Cocaine, all sorts of, like, really fun things.
Yeah.
Okay? Fun stuff.
Uh-huh.
And all before children. Okay. Okay. So my dad, morbidly obese, in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he could barely, on my wedding day, my first wedding, he couldn't even finish the whole daddy-daughter dance because he was so obese, okay? So he did this to himself, and he just, like, destroyed a lot of stuff.
Right.
Not just the obesity, but a lot, you know? Oh my God, I totally forgot where I was going with the whole thing.
We were talking about
enabling people.
Enabling, yes.
So
and how you set boundaries.
So I was in my 20s, and my dad, I'm going to his house in Indiana, and I'm meal prepping for him. I'm cooking him food. I'm packaging it up. This was like before meal prep was the thing.
Right.
But what I was trying to do was replicate hospital food.
Gotcha.
So he was in the hospital because of his obesity and the portion control. He started to lose a little bit of weight. He was gaining momentum. So when he got home, I was like, I'm gonna do the same thing. So I would go to his house and cook him this food, and then he would get in his car, eat that, and go to McDonald's.
Oh, no.
Right?
So did he have diabetes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening, it was like I was shifting my focus into him, which made me feel really, really good about myself, right?
Right.
Because I'm like, well, I can't work on myself right now because, like, my dad is such a mess, and, like, he wouldn't be, like, anywhere without me, so I need to, right? So I'm lying to myself. I'm telling myself this story, and essentially what I was doing was I was doing all the right things for all the wrong reasons.
Right. And that was getting in your way, right? That was your excuse.
It was my excuse to not work on my own stuff.
So how long did that last before you then decided to start working on yourself? Or what was the catalyst for that?
Well, so in my first marriage, I was married for over 10 years. And we had owned like 1 million houses. Okay.
Really?
Bought, sold. We bought our first house right, like in the midst of all the mortgage stuff,
yeah.
right? But I have been to probably a dozen closings. Like, I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh.
And so we're moving all the time. I started to feel a lot of pain in my joints. Mm-hmm. So my hands, my knees a lot, my neck and shoulders. And I went to a naturopath at a chiropractor's office because I wanted to go about it naturally.
That's good.
And
is it?
And she got me addicted to Vicodin.
How?
Very easily.
Oh my God.
So I went there. I went for like a gamma test. I was going 3 times a week, getting stim, like that back. Like those little electrode things in your back, adjustments, massage, supplements.
Oh my gosh.
Urine samples, stool samples, saliva samples, all sorts of things.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then she went in for the kill and was like, wow, you know what? You must be in so much pain. And I'm going to give you this prescription. So now here's the thing you need to know is that once you have a prescription like that, you have to get it refilled every 30 days. And you have to see the doctor every 30 days. Because
they have to make sure you're not addicted, or because they have to make sure you're not abusing it?
Well, I don't know that they all particularly give a shit. But
that's just protocol?
That's protocol. But what they do care about is that it's a sure thing you'll be back in 28 days.
Ah, I see.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so she was writing me these just crazy scripts all the time, and it was a perfect storm. So I had a childhood where it definitely lent to addictive behaviors. I'd previously had addictive behaviors,
Right.
because I was through trauma in my formative years. But then I was very clean and like on this right path, and that's why I was at the naturopath.
Right.
But perfect storm, right?
Oh my
Because I've got those markers, and then there's someone telling you, no, that pain you're feeling is real.
And you do need this.
Yeah.
Like she was enabling you. Like, yes, this
Absolutely.
will help you. And
Absolutely.
you're like, okay.
Yeah, and also I felt really good about it because I was like, see, she gets me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get me. Like, I'm super sick. I'm so sick. You just don't have the sickness I have. And it felt really good to be like, I'm sick.
To be validated in that
Yes.
way. Like,
Yeah.
here you go. You do have problems. You do have, yeah.
Not any of those visits did she say, are you happy?
Oh my gosh.
Not once did we talk about movement.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Movement. Just movement. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even need you to be in there, like, doing deadlifts. Just go for a walk. Get outside. I like deadlifts.
I was
like
going to say, I'm lifting weights.
pro
deadlifts.
Yeah, I am. 100%.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like, if you're just starting out, just, like, move.
Yeah.
Just move your body.
And all in all, like, just borderline depression. I had, just a really codependent relationship with my spouse who was chronically unemployed.
Oh, wow.
I had a lot going on, and I think that's really the message that I share. I get really vulnerable with this, and I share this because I think that in the diet industry, they say, you should go keto. Like, that's your problem, is that you just need to be keto. And it's like, no, if you're eating your emotions, if you're 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds overweight, it's not that keto is your problem.
Right.
But then I also think there's other women in business that shift the other way, and they speak solely on the emotional traumas.
Exactly.
Where I think, no, you've got to understand how to have healthy food in your house. You've got to understand how to move your body. And so I've wanted to meld all of that together.
Right.
And in doing that, I have to be really vulnerable and say, like, yeah, I mean, I have lived many, many lives, for sure.
And that's why people should, like, and why they do listen to you, because you have the experience in that realm. Like, if you've only ever done, like, I've tried paleo and this is it for the rest of my life. Like, if you don't experiment with other things so you can speak to them, then you don't really know. And it does all work together. And that's where I get so, like, confused when people are like, migraines are one thing, but, like, I got a headache today. It's so weird. I'm like, it's probably not weird.
It's not weird. It's not weird.
It's not.
I have a hard time because I do have codependent behavior, because I do, in codependency, I didn't understand. I thought codependent meant you were needy.
Right.
Codependent means you want to control things because you've come from a life that was out of control.
Exactly.
And it comes from a place of love. But so I will see people on Facebook that are like, I'm sick. My kids are sick. We're all just sick. And I'm like, dude, no wonder why you're sick. Like, yes. I mean, it's so obvious to me.
It is. I feel similarly. And even when if I wake up and I have a headache or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, have I had enough water today? Have I worked out today? What does my diet look like today? Did I sleep last night? Did I drink too much last night? Like, I go through this series of questions, which to me at this point, because my fitness journey has been, I was an athlete for a while, and then I got to college and I found alcohol and weed, and, like, it was crazy. Also some coke in there a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I've never really been into pot, but
that phased out pretty quickly.
I'm down.
Oh, yeah, those uppers. I mean, whatever. I was just a party girl. It didn't matter. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good time, girl. We didn't know each other back then.
Oh, no. We would have been. So many. I want to start an after hours podcast because so many stories.
Oh, my gosh. I total, like, hard right here.
Yeah.
But there's, we were talking about a podcast, or a show on NPR, This American Life, which they just were doing a podcast episode on a podcast about drug stories.
Whoa,
it was a very,
really?
and it went a different place than you think that it would, but it was so interesting.
That's what I would love to be able to do that, because I think that because this is a business platform, there's so much that people, and it should be about your business and promoting your business, whatever, but that they're unwilling to share on a platform like this where it's like a marketing based thing.
Yeah, to me it is my marketing.
But yeah, for you, because it's your story and that's your platform.
Yeah, but I can see if you're a graphic designer or something, I wouldn't want to really talk about designer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know about that. So where were we going with that? I don't know.
College partying. Fun.
College
I don't
partying.
remember.
And, my fitness journey. Anyway, it's not like I started yesterday asking myself all these questions. Like, it's been years. I moved to Virginia. I was overweight. I was living at the ocean front. So you're on your bikes all the time. You're in skimpy beach clothes all the time. Like, my best friend is very tiny in general. So, like,
ew, I hate her. Why did you choose her?
I know. Damn you.
I'm sorry.
She's the best. But she's tiny. She just is. Like,
yeah.
And then we got to a point where we were neighbors and we're like, let's start working out. And I wasn't in the gym doing deadlifts. Like, the next day we were doing like 20-minute at-home workouts or outside. And I just felt so much better. And then you get this confidence, and then that, like, it all works together and you start realizing that.
It's, I went for drinks last week with a girlfriend that is really at the beginning of this. And so she was going to like group mommy fitness classes, and now she's really lifting heavy, and it was so beautiful to like have her tell me about, because it took me back. So sometimes it's hard, like it's been 5 years and I'm now at a place where I'm like, anything's fucking possible,
right?
But so to see someone at that spot in their journey, it helped spark that for me, that I remember how it was for me when I first started listening.
I want to make sure we're recording the right thing. Okay, sorry.
It's recording?
Yeah, I got really nervous there.
It's so, doesn't it look flat up here?
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is...
Are we just close?
Testing. Let's see, what if we turn up the volume's up?
Oh, do you edit your video too? Or do you just use pieces of the video?
I usually use the whole thing. See... Okay, well, it says we're recording, so what do you use? This is Logic. Okay. Hello. This is gonna
You're
be
like, holy shit, we're gonna have to start over. We're gonna be so
Oh, God.
We had a lot of fun last time. We drank some Savvy B.
Oh, yeah, we did. All right, we'll be fine. And, I mean, it's in there. I'm just, the volume's up. All right, well, fuck it. If you have to come back, then you have to come back.
Not a problem.
No, okay.
It looks good. I think you just may need to amplify. It looks really quiet.
Doesn't it look really quiet?
Does it normally look that quiet?
I don't know. I don't usually see it because Marshall does it.
Who's Marshall?
My boyfriend slash sound guy.
Oh,
He's the sound guy.
We can pause it and text him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Where's my... Oh, my phone's up there. We'll just cut this out of the video.
No, we should leave it in.
Technical difficulties. This whole week has been one technical difficulty. Should I just call him?
Sure.
That'd be faster, right?
Curious, would you take a funny guy over a fit guy?
Yes.
Me too.
100%.
Like, if I had to pick Jack Black or Chris Hemsworth, I would pick Jack Black in a minute.
Because those looks can fade, like, immediately.
Yeah. And it's not that Chris Hemsworth probably isn't hilarious.
Hey, okay, we're in the middle of the podcast, but I was looking at this computer screen and it looks really quiet. And like the top part is just a flat line, but that big bar at the bottom is recording. Yeah. Okay, but am I supposed to see like bars of sound in the top little red line? Yeah. No, I don't see them now. Yeah, but it's like the noise is down really low or something. Well, can I send you a photo? Well, how do I do that? Um, let's see. Where do I see that? I don't know. 20 minutes? No, maybe longer. 30 minutes? Should I just stop and press play? Oh, jeez. How do I go back? And then press play. Marshall, nothing's recording.
It'll just be better because we'll be a glass of wine in by then.
So what do I need to do to fix it? How do I do that? Okay, I muted it. Mm-hmm. It is one input. Yeah, it did. Okay, but how do I stop the first one? It's like still going. Oh, I can't get the R. Okay, now I have R on. Well, I don't. All right, and so now I hit R on the second one. Okay, R. What little bar? Turn that on. Okay, and then. Uh-huh. Yeah. No. There's one and then, well, yeah, I guess it's one big one. I mean, the noise looks fine there. It's like when we hit record. So when I hit record, oh, you mean at the very top? Yes. There's one little guy. Well, no, I mean, I can't do that while we're on the phone. What if I hit record now See, it's a flat line. But yeah, but you can't even hear our, like when I'm talking to you right now, it's just a flat line. Yeah. Yeah, the mic is turned up. Well, I can turn it up all the way, but it never has to be all the way. It is on the left, but it's not picking up voices. Well, right, but I just played the last one. Well, it's recording on the bottom now. Oh, see, that's weird. But I don't understand what the bottom part of this screen is then. Hello, 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 hello. But that's the only place I see noise bars. On the left side, when I talk to you like this, there's 2. It's going to 18. Almost. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Oh my gosh.
It's working?
Yeah, I think it was working the first time, but
I might have some carbs.
yes, girl. Let me send a photo real quick just to make sure. This is why I need a sound guy, cause
He has to work, right?
yeah.
What does he do?
He works at the tile shop in Geneva, but then he has a music studio in his house.
So he's the sound guy.
Sound guy. Sound guy, 100%. And that's what has been nice for this. But this is the first one, and I thought it would be fine. You press record. I don't want to lose anything, so I think I'm just being paranoid. But see, it's showing up now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was recording the whole time. Because we have the second one still there, so I texted him. Let's see.
I have this friend that I think you would hit it off with.
Oh, really?
Like, she reminds me a lot of you. Her name's Chrissy Flynn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ever heard of her?
Uh-uh.
She's gone to We So Sings. Do you know that Eileen, she's an accountant from We So Stuff?
No.
It's like E-I-L, Eileen.
Come on, Marshall.
But I think you would like her.
Oh, really? I would like to meet her. No, I don't know her.
She looks like somebody you would be friends with,
Yeah.
right? I know. She's like your age, and she's in she just like marketing, sort of. I don't know exactly. Like, she's just starting out her first year, and she helps with like brand identity and
Ooh.
like, you know, so it's a little bit like I think she's kind of finding, it's definitely marketing,
Right.
in business stuff, but I'm gonna connect the two of you. I think we'll like each other.
Awesome. Okay, he says it looks good.
Okay, so do you want to start over, or do you want to, where were we? We were talking about your fitness journey.
Yeah. What were we even talking? I need a shot of tequila now.
Woo! Rachel was telling me about like what a great drinker you are.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so funny because wait, how old are you?
31. I'll be 32 in October.
There's a big shift like throughout your 30s. I'm gonna be 40 in May, and like all of a sudden I'm really excited to go to bed at 9. And like,
I still like going to bed at like 10, 10:30. But there's a big shift.
Yeah, like at least for myself, I the most growth that I've had in my entire life was probably like 35.
Yeah.
On.
I can feel that coming though. Like there's a whole different level of like confidence, but also like not giving a fuck. You're just like,
if you look at really old people who literally give zero fucks,
yes,
you think like, oh well, that every 10 years that kind of progresses, and I think that starting to not give a fuck happens. But that's such a blanket statement too, because it depends like everybody what they've been through,
where you are,
what they're doing. Yeah.
All right, let's okay, I'm going to reintroduce us, but just in case.
Okay.
Hello everyone, round 2. If you are seeing this for the second time, I'm sorry. We had some technical difficulties. I'm Miranda Rodriguez from Marketing for the Uninhibited, and I'm here with Melissa Rhonda of The Honest Way. Honest Way. Am I butchering it? The Honest Way. And hopefully you don't have to see this part, but here we are. Cheers.
I always think the second time is always better.
It is. I think so. We're getting a second chance right here. I'm
all about second chances.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So we were talking about, you were setting boundaries with your dad, and then my fitness journey, and how that like it doesn't start overnight. But when did you decide you were going to do this as a career?
So that's actually a really beautiful part. Like I couldn't write it any better than this. So where we last left off was that I got addicted to prescriptions, and I was like
from the natural doctor.
So a naturopath can write scripts. A napropath, I don't think they do, but a naturopath does, and she wrote a many. and so like this part isn't overly important, but at some point they had me going to a rheumatologist, so they were giving me they thought that I had RA, rheumatoid arthritis, because I had weird hands. So they're like unusually
your knuckles.
Yeah, right? Fed into the whole thing. It's just the way they are. Like, but there was enough to show that it looked like I had RA. So I was on immune suppressants, methotrexate, meloxicam. Like,
oh my gosh.
Then they give you antidepressants because that shit depresses you. And then I'm on Vicodin. And I got to a point where I was snorting them. I know!
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't even know why. I think the effects wouldn't even last as long, but
yeah.
Whatever. And so I had to leave my ex-husband. Like it was like a locomotive. Like imagine that heartbeat in a movie where there's like like that was my existence. Like if you don't leave this guy, like shit's gonna hit the fan, you know?
My God.
So I ended up leaving him. Flash forward a few years, I really dusted myself off. I met my now husband, and I had gotten on a prescription medication that helps you get off of Vicodin.
Okay.
So crazy enough, I was actually on the medicine to get off of Vicodin twice as long as I was on the Vicodin.
Oh, is it a smaller dose? Is it to wean you?
Yeah. Well, it's not Vicodin at all. It's something else. It's like a sublingual tab called Suboxone. But it takes you longer to gradually get off of it.
Okay.
And the doctors even wanted me on it longer because, again, too, you come back every 30 days. If you think that any physician has your best interest at mind, you better question it, because I don't care what any doctor says. I don't truly believe that. They have a specific protocol. They follow it. It's sales.
Right.
So even this doctor that's got me on this not Vicodin was like, no, you should stay on it, you know. Year and a half I'm on this stuff.
Wow.
So I decide that I need to move. Like I need to move my body. I need to focus on something positive. So at the time, I hadn't realized. When I look back now and I go, oh, wait a minute, I'm no longer obese now because of these little decisions that I made back then.
Yeah.
Which, like, neuroscience is like, oh my God, yes, this is exactly why this worked. But I didn't understand that. It was just sort of like this weird intuition. So I was like, I'm not going to focus on a diet. I'm just going to focus on going to the gym and getting healthy.
Yes. Like one thing at a time, right?
Right.
You can't, if you try to overhaul everything.
And instead of like focusing on the lack mindset of like going on a diet, this was more about adding something positive to my life instead of worrying about taking away something negative.
Did you find that when you were going to the gym regularly that you then wanted to eat healthier because you didn't want to sabotage your gym work?
Yeah, it was like a natural progression. I hired a personal trainer. At the time, I really could only afford 8 sessions.
Yeah.
So I hired him and I stretched it out once a week. And then I would... See, this is sometimes when people complain that they don't get results. I'm like, you're just missing the boat.
Yeah.
Because I remember leaving the gym and I was like, this is all I can afford this week. But I want this so bad that I would sit in my car and I would write down the workout that he and I did.
Oh, good.
So that I could go then replicate that on my own.
Yeah.
Because I had that hunger, that desire so badly to get that right. When I think about now what I give my clients, I'm like, there's literally no reason that you can't be successful, you know?
And you have to have, my brother's a personal trainer and he talks about that because he doesn't enable them either and he won't give them like, okay, when we're not together, this is what, like he'll say like work on some things, but he's not going to give you a prescribed workout.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're going and sitting in your car and taking notes means that you wanted it.
Yeah. That I
Like you were showing up for yourself.
For sure. It was a decision. But my last session with him was my last day that I was weaning off of that sublingual tab. Yeah. And so I did say to him, I'm like, dude, like, this is what's going on. And he goes, Melissa, we're going to push through. You're going to do it anyway. So by the end of that workout, I had realized that I had said to him, I can't, like a dozen times.
Oh, wow.
And I did it anyway.
Right.
So at that point, it was like this catalyst when I realized, wait a minute, what about all the other things that I said I can't do?
Right.
That I probably can do. Exactly. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And it really progressed from there. What mattered, and I'm talking weeks. And I told my husband one day, I really, truly, and if this sounds like a God complex, I really don't even give a shit. I told him I truly believe I am put on this earth to do this. Like, I believe that I've been through all of that I've been through. I believe that I had the dad that I did and the mom that I did and the husband I did and all of this. I believe that was to be, and I'm not even a religious person. Right. So I'm like an atheist. But I believe that so strongly. And I think my husband could just really see that. And so he supported me in going back and getting my certification.
Where were you working at this time? So
at this point, I had left my career in the city, and I was working for a very short time for like a contractor out in the suburbs. So it was really an easy decision to get out of that. It was not very fulfilling, but it was to tide me over until that. So once I had that paper in my hands that said like I'm a qualified professional to do this, it was really easy to get clients in the beginning because everyone on Facebook knew Fat Melissa. They knew Fat Melissa from high school and they had seen me throughout this journey. Right. And because I wasn't, this is a great advertisement, so to speak, for not selling.
Right.
Because, yes, I just brought value because I was so passionate about strength training and eating well that people naturally wanted to work with me.
And they saw it worked for you, right? Like you made this huge transformation, but it didn't happen overnight. It was progress.
Instead of somebody, I'm looking for 5 local ladies to come join me in my gym. Like, nobody wants that shit, you know? And I think that people could genuinely tell that I was so passionate. only lasted a short amount of time until I really had to hire someone and learn about Facebook ads and learn about structuring programs. But in the beginning, it got me going for sure.
It does, and I think if you can hold on to at least that, like, that openness and then that grit, because there's a certain amount of grit about you to have to work through all of that shit from your childhood and then your marriage and then your own, like, addiction journey and all of that. You have to want to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to change.
I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. It's strange that you say that. Like, if anybody's followed me for, 6 months, they would know that I'm very vocal about my hatred for my mother.
Oh, yeah.
She's a sociopath. And she really screwed up me because she would tell me that behavior was normal. And so when you're a kid, you think it's normal.
Yeah, that's all you know.
That's all you know,
Right.
And I had a moment yesterday where I thought, I realized that she's a sociopath, but it's almost like the best gift she gave me, because there are people that don't know what it's like to struggle. They don't have that resiliency. Mm-hmm. They don't have that grit. And I think, I guess you could argue, what's worse, babying your child or being emotionally abusive?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think they're both forms of abuse.
Yeah.
The way
100%.
Right? And I have a hard time, right? Because I'm trying to compensate for the mother I had. So I'm like, how was your lunch, honey?
Right.
Hi, guys. How was your lunch? Like, that's a big thing for me. My mom, like, we didn't always have food available and stuff. And so every day I'm like, how was your lunch? To my kids, it's like a weird thing I have.
And they're like, why are you asking me again?
Right. And then I almost overcompensate.
Yeah.
So I've been watching that. But I love that we're talking about this, because I think as an entrepreneur, so many people think they're going to come in and it's just going to be easy because they, their parents paid for college and it's always been easy and they're owed something.
Yes, they're owed something, or there's so many people out there who think that just because they have a good idea that they deserve to have a platform, and that's probably how all entrepreneurship starts, right? But only the ones that are tenacious enough and audacious enough and like just willing to work through the shit are the ones that are going to make it, because everyone has a good idea. Like, your neighbor has a good idea, everybody. Mm-hmm. But like, are you willing to stick with it through and through? Which is something Rachel and I actually talked about on the podcast last week, is like sticking with your idea, but then knowing when to give up on it too. Like, okay, as far as tactics in your business. This isn't working. But if your strategy and like your mission are sound, which is why it's so important to do those things up front, then your tactics can change and you're not married to them. It's not like the end all be all. Like, oh, this Facebook ad isn't working, let's try something else. Like, you have to be able to evolve faster. Grow.
And again, not unlike a weight loss journey, right? Like, I launched a higher price offer in January that I hadn't nurtured my community to pay a higher price offer. So I had launched that program in September. Oh, like life shifting.
Was that the one that was like only $32?
No.
Okay.
This was my $2,000 program. And filled it. Crazy, huge month. Because I had 4.5 years of women that have purchased from me, they know it's a no-brainer, because I bought her other things at lower prices, and so I know this is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So launched it again in January. Hadn't really sold these people other offers, like not enough of them, and I'm not thinking. My ideal client is 35 to 50-year-old female. Right. She spent all of her money at Christmas. Like, she's trying to just pay off her Amex
and waiting for the taxes.
Right. Yeah. Like, because most of the women I work with, they're teachers. Mm-hmm. They're middle class women, and sometimes they're single and they're trying to, like, Stella got their group back kind of thing. Like, so they don't have, like, just they feel really guilty about. See, they have $2,000, but they feel guilty about spending the $2,000 on themselves.
Yeah.
And so I launched that in January, and it did not go where I wanted it to go. And instead of going, like, I really had to look at that and say, what did I learn out of this?
Right. And what did you learn?
Well, I learned that you have to sell lower price offers more often
To build the trust.
Yes. So now I'm actually if this sounds exhausting, it's really about the energy that you put into it. Yeah. I sell every day.
And right. And you can sell every day, or you can call it showing up every day, but you've got to like show up for your business every single day. In every post and everything you do. Yeah,
and authentically.
Yes.
So this is actually two completely different conversations, but isn't this how all females, we do this, right?
Oh, Lord, yes.
Oh, my God. But yeah, like showing up every day.
Right.
Huge. And then also like intentionally launching things and, 2 weeks sprints of it, packaging things differently, giving everybody opportunities to taste and to whatever. So that when you launch that program that's 4 times that price, you've got a pool of women that have already invested in you. They're already pre-qualified, right? They've already seen that you over-deliver time and time again. So now I'm selling every day, but authentically, which as an entrepreneur, I mean, I guess everybody's kind of business is different. And so this isn't a blanket statement, but I feel like everything I've been ever taught about being a member in society is literally the opposite of how I should grow my business.
Right.
So when I meet somebody who's like well off or like some sort of financial advisor and they're like, hello, and I'm like, what's up, dude?
Yes.
Like, I give 0 fucks. Like, I'm going to talk to you. My goal in my business is to talk to you exactly like the conversations I have with my husband.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're taught to be like, hi guys, it's Melissa. Like, that's not me.
So how did you, this is what I wanted to ask you, like yesterday when I was listening to your podcast, how did you find this voice? Have you always been this confident? Or like, have you always
still
been
not.
this, because you come across very confident.
You know what? Thank you. Someone else told me that recently and I was like, really? Because that's not what's happening in my head.
Well, so that's interesting because in your podcast, in your your imaging on social media and your advertising, all that stuff, like you are strong. You are, what is your, oh no, I had it. What is your fearless and
forthright?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's how you're showing up in all of the things that you do. So I'm just curious, like how you found that voice, because I think as a new entrepreneur, it can be really hard if you're like listening to what everyone else is telling you to do in your business, and then you're like, oh my God, but now I'm starting to sound like her, and that's not what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to say shit on my podcast and not care,
Also think about this on the way over, because this has really been a big transition for me. First of all, I should send you photos like from a photo shoot from 3 years ago. Yeah. You would laugh. Like, it's super crunchy and stupid, and I've got this dumbass hat on. I was like trying to be like a green smoothie fucking Instagram chick, and I'm like, wait a minute. My brand is eat a fucking cheeseburger, drink a beer, lift weights, and then eat a fucking salad. Like, but oh my God, when you want to make it work so bad and you think, well, it's working for her.
Right.
So maybe that'll work for me.
Yes.
And all I can say is I think it's a natural progression. I'm my father just completely through and through. And I used to tell him, Dad, just because you're right doesn't mean that everybody wants to hear that all the time. But I was totally his daughter. And I've now subscribed to, I don't give a shit if you want to hear it. I'm right, and I'm going to tell you that, and that is conviction.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's honest, and it's like raw in a way that, I mean, because you're leaving it up to the other person to decide, right? Like, I don't have to listen to you, so I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm going to go over here. Because it's not your decision to control whether or not people listen to you.
Which is hard. So that's been a lot of my heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So when I run Facebook ads and I'm bringing new, fresh women into my community, I will start a Facebook Live to say, I'm like you. If you struggle with your weight, here's a little bit about my journey. And I want to let you know that I drop serious fucking F-bombs. Yeah. So if that's offensive to you, I'm not your coach.
Right.
And when I think about it in the end, if I'm in a group coaching program and I'm connecting with these women, do I want to have to filter what I'm saying?
No.
So you want to pre-qualify them by if they're offended by fuck, then like they're not my chick. Like she's probably too old or too stuffy to even relate to my struggles anyways. So like the way that I see it is like my woman is me. My woman is scrappy. My woman has had it shitty. My woman has like she's not offended by much because she's been through much.
And
so
she's hungry and she's ready to work and So
if you're offended by fuck, like, man, like we're probably just not a good fit.
Because that says a lot about the tenacity of an individual, right? Like if you're going to be offended by a word, like a single word, what does Joe Rogan say? Like the noise that's coming out of my mouth right now.
I love him.
Oh my God.
I had this conversation with my daughter the other day in the car because we were listening to Flow Rider.
God.
And she was singing and he swore and she said the word, and my kids are so square. Straight A students, they are literally the opposite of me. I don't know.
Is that intentionally? Even subconsciously.
So I just wanted to say I don't know why they're that way. I do. I'm a great mom.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that mom who has like mommy guilt. I'm the only mom. My ex-husband is a heroin addict. He hasn't paid child support in 5.5 years.
So you're mom and dad.
Yeah, and I'm married. I have a husband, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm raising really responsible kids because I'm doing the heavy lifting in that parental. So like I don't have the luxury of having mommy guilt. Like mommy guilt, like ugh, I want to throw up when I hear that. Because like I wish I had time to have mommy guilt. Like
and you should.
It's a luxury to me.
Yes. And why are we even having that conversation? The mommy guilt and the mommy shame is really. I don't have kids, but I have a boyfriend who has a kid, and then I have a bunch of friends that have kids, and that shit is real.
Yeah, I mean, I guess too. I'm speaking from a place where I have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old.
Oh yeah.
But when I had a 9-month-old, yes, I was like, is there BPA in this bottle? Oh my gosh. Because back then, like, bottles had BPA in them.
Right.
So I was I was that mom, but I think when your kids are like, almost at the age they're getting driver's license, like, I don't have time for mommy stuff. But I was talking to my daughter about swearing, and she was so embarrassed that she said that. And I said, honey, like, you hear me swear all the time and you never swear. Like, you need to know, I'm not saying swear, but I'm also saying that a word is just an expression. It's just a word. And like, who said that but is not a swear and ass is a swear? Like, that's the stupidest thing.
Right. And I think, because my mom still swears a lot, and I do too, but like, I
want to meet her.
She is not. My mom is so funny because everyone who meets her, like at first, the first introduction, they're like, oh my God, your mom is so nice and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, right, but she'll beat your ass if you step out of line. Like if you had to take a trip to the bathroom at dinner, it was not good. Like if you're out in public. So she's just as, she's the only woman I fear to this day. But anyway, she's just as scary as she is nice. But she swore all the time.
She's just as scary. I want that on my tombstone. Please. Yeah. That's amazing.
Like, I don't know. To everyone else, she's the nicest person out there. And she is. She's very genuine and kind-hearted and, like, does a lot of good for the world. But if you were her child and you got out of line, then you better watch out.
Yeah. Mine, I have a look.
Yeah.
I will look at you.
Do you have like that closed mouth, like growl?
So I don't do that because my dad did that, and he would like, he's like his teeth like this, and I've never. Oh God, there's no wood. I've never. My kids are so good. They're so western suburbs. They've got no clue. No clue.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Orland, and then I moved to Worth.
Oh, wow.
So, but my mother, like Orland at the time, it was very nice. But my mother's from the city. My father was raised by his grandmother. Literally slept in a drawer, like a sheet. Yeah.
Wow.
So my mother's parents had saved every penny that they ever had, and when they died, we moved to Orland. but we were Midlothian family, so we were very working class.
Right.
A lot of addiction stuff and abuse stuff going on. So I feel so much like a South Side girl, and it's not necessarily location related,
right?
As
like an attitude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A mindset.
It's just tough, and it's gritty, and it's like you don't give a fuck, and you're just gonna go out there and do it. And that attitude, I think when you're that's what comes off as confident. And so you can lack confidence but still have that attitude, which I think is important for people to understand.
I work on it often. I really do care what people think, not in the sense that I want them to particularly like me, but that I don't want them to be sad or offended or whatever. But the more work that I do on that, I come to the conclusion that I don't owe anybody a fucking thing. Like, if you come into my Facebook group, paying clients are one thing, but they're already pre-qualified because they're already getting real Melissa. But if you come in my group and you're offended, I don't owe you fucking shit. It's a free group. Then leave it.
And you can leave.
Right.
And that's where I don't, that's like the problem I have with the internet. It's like, well, if you don't like it or you don't want to see it, then you can leave. And there's a time and a place to express your opinion. Yes, always. But like, you have to think about if a closed group like that, what good is it? Then just leave.
And also, if I wanted to kiss people's ass, I would have worked.
Yeah.
Like, I would have kept working for the lawyers that I had to be scared of. If I'm worried about kissing some lady's ass at a networking event, like, I might as well just go to fucking work.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, so you're almost 5 years in your business now?
5 years,
5 years? Mm-hmm. And I'm like 16 months. So I think I'm definitely still working on finding my voice and like carving out my specific place, because you go to these networking events and you watch certain podcasts or things, and it's like, oh, it should be how I'm showing up, like, but that's not me. And so it's still hard for me. I struggle with like being my authentic self, and I'm working on it, and it's getting there, but the podcast helps because it's like we're drinking wine, we're on the on the couch,
a little liquid lubrication,
never
like
hurt anybody.
A social lubrication.
Exactly.
So the other night we watched Bohemian Rhapsody, and oh man, I thought the storyline was lackluster at best. Acting was phenomenal.
The acting, yeah.
But the one thing that I loved so much was that, and it must have really been what Freddie Mercury said, because it was very particular. He said, Remy or whatever, because he's so adorable. He said, when I'm on stage, I couldn't sing off key if I tried.
Right.
And he said that because Freddie Mercury was so vulnerable and just literally being on that stage. He wasn't thinking if you like it. He was just living, just doing that thing. He's singing, right.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my God, when I deliver a Facebook Live in my community that is like goosebump giving, it is because I snap. And I go into this thing where I don't give a shit if you don't like it. I don't care what you think. I'm going to tell you.
Yep.
And then you know what? When I go back and listen to it, I go, that was like half as mean as I thought it was. Like, it was not as mean as I thought.
Yes. And I don't know if that's just a women thing, but like, I always think I'm meaner than I am. Well, I can be pretty mean, but like that I'm meaner than I am. But that's a flow state. When you go into that zone, and you can obtain that state through working out too. Like, again, working out, being uncomfortable in your workouts, like achieving a flow state in your workouts. So those are all things that are going to occur in your regular life. So if you can get like comfortable with them there and figure out how to tap into them in your workout, then I think that it translates so well. Because then you're in your Facebook Live and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm zoned in right now. This is, and like I recognize this because I was doing this in the gym the other day. And then with the Bohemian Rhapsody, we watched on YouTube before we watched the movie the actual footage of the Live Aid. It was Live Aid, right? Oh yeah. So we watched the whole thing.
Because you're so cute and young. I actually watched it when it was really happening.
My boyfriend's dad was like, have you ever seen that? I'm like, no. So we had like a whole Bohemian Rhapsody night. So we watched that first. And then it was amazing to see how well Remy, or is that how do you
I think it's, I don't know. I want to believe it is because that's a great name. Yeah.
how well he did, and then like how well they just executed the whole thing, like down to the cups on the piano.
Yes, I noticed that as well. And that's exactly how I remembered it.
Yeah.
That was so good. But I think there's a lot to be said for that. But I will also say, not unlike Freddie Mercury, he's saying he's done that thing for years and years and years.
Yes.
And when I go and I do a live and I'm snapping about something, it's not usually new content.
Right.
And that is something I think that people feel like, well, I shouldn't be talking about the same things over and over again because people don't want to hear that. Mm-hmm. When actually that firms your message up.
Yes.
And so, like I've been saying for years, creating healthy habits so automatic it's like brushing your teeth. Right. So if that comes out of my mouth, it's not like I just carved that idea in the moment. Like that only comes from the hard work of doing 25 million shitty ass Facebook lives. And then you watch them over and over again and you go, what did I say that was good? What do I want to change? Like you have to be like a football player watching a game.
Over and over.
Yeah.
And then you have to like, okay, what did people react to that I didn't think they were going to react to? Because that's always surprising to me too. Like, oh, okay, they're responding to this part of what I said, but not this.
Totally.
And, like I think if you're a musician, or if you've ever listened to interviews, like Kendrick Lamar did this interview and he was saying, I forget which song, but they didn't pick that. He didn't want that to be the single that was first released. And then that's what people gravitated towards. Yeah. Like they had an entirely different plan over here, but the public was like, no, this one is what we like and this is what we want. And so you have to listen to your audience. And I think sometimes, especially in the beginning, you're so like dead set in your plan and your strategy and I'm going to do this. And then it's like, well, shit, like it's not okay, but that wasn't part of the plan. And so you have to be willing to be like, okay, cool. Like, does it still fit my mission? Does it still like help me achieve my goals? Then let's try this.
You got to play to the like Frank Sinatra, right? Like you've got like I posted something about if it was as simple as not eating carbs, don't you think we'd all be fucking skinny by now? Right. And you know what? Tons of people sharing it, loving it, ha ha ha, oh my God. So you know what? I say that shit all the time. Yeah. Because it's true. And it's my statement. Right. Like, I'm just carving that out even more for myself. And I think the permission to everyone to repeat yourself ad nauseum because you think everyone's listening all the time. That's your narcissistic. Yes. So you know when you go in the gym and you think everyone's looking at you and then you realize later like how narcissistic that is, that really nobody's looking at you.
And that's a fear that's I think only occurs in the beginning. Like in the beginning. Like if you're new to the gym or you're scared about going to the gym, that's an excuse you tell yourself. Like once you've been going to the gym for a few years, you're like, no one gives a shit. Right. I literally did a box jump and rolled over the top of the box.
Amazing.
And I was like, oh God, everyone's probably laughing. And I stood up and honestly no one had blinked.
No one. But you want to know why?
No one even said, are you okay?
No, of course not. Because they're too busy looking at their friggin' biceps and things. So I think that's been a huge lesson for me. I used to be looking at everyone else with a critical eye all the time. Yeah. And now that I move through my life, like literally not giving a fuck what you're doing, like if you were hurt, that's different. Right.
I wasn't hurt. I was fine.
But the people that don't have shit going on are the ones who are going like, look at that bitch. Yeah. Like, that's because you have literally nothing going on. Like, I don't have time to be critical of other people. No. So I don't look for criticism in them, and then I don't expect that they're being so critical of me. Right. It releases a chip off my shoulder because as a young person, I was just like, who the fuck does she think she is? Because I was assuming that everyone was as critical of me as I was being of them.
Or as you are of yourself. Yeah. Which is how I am too. Yeah. Like, we are our own toughest critics, and so you just assume that everyone else is applying that same level of judgment to you, but really they don't care. And if you're new in a situation, like new to your business, new to your industry, new to whatever your job, it can feel that way too. New to the gym, And then you realize, like, no one is watching you. And maybe it's human nature to compare sometimes. And, like, I look at some girls in the gym and I'm like, damn, like, how did she get that butt? She's probably here more than I am. Or maybe she just has good genes. It doesn't matter. Like, could I be doing more if I wanted a bigger butt? Sure.
Well, here's my theory on that. Like, if you knew what that chick had to look like like that, what she had to eat,
What she had to do.
what she had to not eat,
Yep.
then you may go, well, shit, I don't know that I want that.
Right.
So for me, it's really important that I'm like, this is the body that I have, and that includes day drinking.
Yes.
Not, occasionally with you, like
Right.
not a daily thing. That includes tater tots with my kids.
Yeah.
But that, and I think that's probably a big part of my authenticity too, is because a lot of those chicks you see on Instagram, well, number one, they're 20.
Right.
Number two, they were never obese.
Yeah.
Number three, they never had kids. And number four, it's photoshopped. And number five, she's showing you a photo of a cheeseburger that she ate 2 bites out of.
Yeah, and how many of these girls or people on Instagram have been athletes their whole life? Like you said, they
Yes.
were never obese.
They were
And,
never
like,
obese, and so the before and after photos come back like they're they'll come back like they're like, I've worked with men before, and I had a male client that used to be like in football in college.
Right.
Oh my God, he bounced back in a hot minute.
Yes.
And he looks amazing.
Because that's how bodies are.
That's right. Like, I've never developed any muscle until I was like 32, and it's been a struggle for me, and I want to be open and honest about that. And the other thing is too, we don't have to stay on this soapbox, but I know that people think steroids are a thing of like a bodybuilder guy, but what they don't understand is that so many females
Really?
casually use them. Oh my God, you want to be thin as fuck and retain your muscle? They're just not using as much. So there's different forms. There's different, there's different dosages.
Huh.
And on top of that, when you see them in a photo, know that they probably starved themselves for a couple days, then they ate 45 gummy bears, then they took pre-workout, and then they got a pump. They got
Right.
a good workout in, and then they're turning a very specific way.
And the lighting is right, and their clothes are right.
And then that fucking photo's edited.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're comparing ourselves to something that is so beyond. And
Yeah.
it's different than Khloe Kardashian with her frigging, like, contouring her nose. I mean, this shit is chemical. It's the lighting. It's editing. It's
Right.
fucking everything. And women are sold this shit. Like, oh my God, take this friggin' protein powder from Beachbody. Like, they're using a fucking former friggin' Olympic athlete. And I got amps now from this Beachbody step program. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's what I don't understand. And that's I think an opportunity as a consumer where you have to decide what you're going to consume, because you can follow all those people on Instagram, those athletes and things, but there are also real people out there doing real things like what you're doing, and it's not going to be overnight success. You're never going to have an Olympic body. Like, that's just not going to happen unless you want to make the sacrifices, which is a full-time job, like a whole lifestyle. But you as a consumer, like, you can decide whether or not you're going to follow that person on Instagram and let that ruin your day. Like, oh damn, like, I still don't look like that girl, or I still don't have a Kardashian ass. Like, you can decide.
Yeah, and you know what? The Kardashians don't even have Kardashian asses. Those aren't even real.
Right.
I think if you're on Instagram, which I fucking hate Instagram, and
Do
that's
you?
permission. Damn, the skirt. This is so not me. Okay, here.
But it looks cute. Yeah,
Thanks.
get comfortable. Oh, let me take
So
these off too then.
nice.
That's what we're doing.
So if that's
Yes.
what we're doing, I have to go to the washroom.
We can take a pee break.
Okay, can we?
Yeah.
'Cause I kind of been holding it because we've been talking.
Yeah, go.
I'll be
Let's
quick.
take it. Oh, well, I'm going to go with you because there's 2 and I have to pee too. So pause. This is, I don't know if we've ever done this before. Well, I'm keeping my shoes off.
How
Business coach.
who really, man, I mean, I knew she was good, but when I realized what I'm getting, she's amazing.
It's just that added support that you need, or like encouragement that you need sometimes too, and the work that she gives you.
She's a trained psychologist, but I don't really need the mindset shit a lot because
Right.
I'm very, I have like a very masculine energy of like some women are like, I don't know, I'm just not motivated. And I'm like, well, I don't know, I want to eat. So like, I'm going to fucking work.
You're gonna figure it out.
Right, like it's not a
Yes.
thing for me. Also, it's kind of like a literal belief that I was meant to do this. So I have a responsibility.
Right.
Like I'm not afraid of hard work. But she is, oh my God, she's, every single time I think, okay, she's taught me the things, and then she
Giving you
comes
all the
back
tools, yeah.
and she's like, and now we're doing these email funnels that are the sexiest. Yeah, like an email funnel can be sexy. So here's the difference between a regular sales email
Yes.
is like the dude who's like, hey baby, in the bar. These are like, they're looking at you from across the bar.
Oh my god.
Like they're like, I fucking you. And then they're like, you know, maybe coming over and asking you if you would mind if they sit down. Like it's like
a massage almost.
Yeah,
like you're
it's-
nurturing them throughout.
yes. It's like, and I've heard the phrase of like a nurturing email before.
Mm-hmm.
This is beyond that. This is like you just get drunk with. There's a psychology behind it, and it's fantastic.
That's amazing.
So like my opt-in that I'm launching next week, instead of just, you know, like it delivers you the content, but it delivers you a daily video for 4 days on my specific framework. And then it doesn't even sell you on that. Then it sends you to a workshop. And then at the end of the workshop, it pitches you that offer. And then it gives you a few days to buy it. If you don't buy it, it like sends you back in this nurturing sequence.
Ooh.
It's beautiful.
So let's talk about that, like the amount of work that it takes to create that level of a nurturing sequence. So how long did it
Sure.
take you to create your workshop?
So I am, thank you very much, her fastest working client. I literally will think of something and I produce it immediately.
Okay.
So I'm not what someone, like I see, and this is one thing I want to say, I'm not sure like, you know, the level of everyone that's listening, but like I've been to things where women were hemming and hawing about what to name their Facebook group for
Yeah.
like a month or two.
Right.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it does, none of that shit matters. Like, you have to show the fuck up.
It's the story behind that, right? It's whatever life you give to that name that matters.
I don't even give a shit if you said like the basic as fuck Facebook group.
Right.
But if you're showing up in there and you are like magnetizing and you are telling
Yes.
women with passion and you are this and like none of that shit. And so don't get bogged down with the details and
Right.
don't get bogged down with things being perfect, which if you're on my email list, you'll know. Like I have typos on everything.
But
I
you
don't give a
can't
shit.
care.
I don't give a shit.
You really can't. And that's what I was thinking about my blog the other day. I was like, damn, I wonder how many typos are in that blog. But at the end of the day, I mean,
If I'm a book editor, then I worry about it.
exactly.
That's the way that I see it.
Right.
So I wish I could tell you that there was like if I were to coach someone in the business sense now, I could take them through it. But I wish that I could say that there's a way to skip a process, but I feel like there's not. Like I honed my program, and it's really about mindset, nutrition, fitness, and then how to make it all stick.
Right. Do you hear that techno music?
I do.
Where's that coming
I don't know. I just figured it was upstairs.
Okay, so you figure out a way to hone your process. But like, how long has it taken you to figure this process out?
Well, just recently, because I knew that I wasn't just about nutrition. I knew I wasn't about fitness. I knew that I was more than just mindset. And I knew that I was more than like strategies. Because strategies aren't sexy, but that's what makes it all work. It wasn't until January that my coach really pushed me to, she was like, come up with your trademark framework. So whether it's an acronym or it's like your 4 A's to lasting weight loss or whatever.
Oh.
So fucking agony doing this, because when your brain thinks a certain way, it just wants to go that way. And so I was like, well, I don't fucking know. Like, I was just doing this thing for days and days and days. And as I mentioned, I like to produce quickly.
Right.
And so to me, being blue collar, like, I value so much the work. Not like if I'm sitting there and thinking and there's nothing produced,
You think it's
feels
a waste
like
of time.
Yes. And so I had to spend weeks doing this. And
Oh, God.
so I came up with the REAL method. And it's REAL is reframe your mindset. So shifting your thoughts. Ease, for the E, is about creating food that you actually fucking want to eat.
Right.
Fast. And A is accelerate. So push the process quicker with strength training.
Yeah.
And then L is leverage it all and create healthy habits. So it's the REAL method.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is really aligned with the honest way.
Right.
And so now everything that I deliver, every program has a touch of each. And maybe one might be shifted more focused towards one or the other.
Oh, okay.
But you're going to get, with me, you're going to get all of them.
Right. So that's like your overarching thing, the
Right.
REAL method.
Right.
And then everything you do falls under that.
Under that, right. And I wish that I could say I could have come to that on year one.
Right. But
I
I don't
don't
think
know.
you can.
You can't. Because even in the beginning, I literally thought it was just that I didn't know how, I didn't have that mindset component.
Right.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And you don't know what your audience wants yet, or even if you think you know what they want, like, it takes trial and error to figure out like what's really tapping in with them. And so I think after 5 years, you've got a pretty good idea of what those women want from you, or like how you can support them.
I mean, yes, but I don't think that way. Like, I don't think about what I can give them. I think about, you're fucking welcome. Like,
Oh.
I know it sounds nuts.
Yeah.
I come from a place of like, you don't even fucking know what you need.
Because you're giving them what they need, right?
Because I was there.
Yeah.
And I thought all I needed was to hire a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize I had all this emotional baggage.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in, like, sell them what they think they want, but you have to give them what they need.
Yeah.
So often I come from a place of like, because women will tell me all the time, like, well, I don't want to dig through my past and handle my shit. And then
They tell you that?
they do. Oh, it's really common because it's messy.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm not a psychologist. I give them like journaling prompts and stuff. But I've had enough really, really fucking successful clients.
Right.
That I say, you can do whatever you want to do, but here's what I recommend.
Yeah.
And then they will say down the line, like, oh my God, like I can't, I'm laughing now that I thought I had a sugar addiction and I realized I had mommy issues. Like,
Oh my gosh.
And so you have to, but that comes from years of, you just know because you have data to back it up.
Right. It's testing. Because you're testing constantly and you like to move fast. So you're willing to like test, evaluate, okay, let's move on. And that's
Totally.
where a lot of people get stuck, I think, in the evaluation phase. And they're like, but it's not really working, but maybe it could, instead of just changing it and moving on.
So here's my belief. If I'm launching something and I have to think like I'm fucking insane to charge you that, in the sense of like, you have to have a boosted ego. If I'm selling you something that's $500, I need to believe it's a $2,000 program and you're fucking lucky to get it for $500. If I don't, they're not going to believe that. And I've not over-delivered.
Yes.
So I have to over-deliver all of the time. So I'm setting my bar higher to just ensure that they're getting what they want out of it. And that doesn't mean it has to be perfect. So the reason I'm bringing that up is, like, let's say it's your first time launching something. You're like, it's a 6-week, I'm doing a new program called Fit as Fuck. That's funny, right? Fit as Fuck. It's like fit, and then the AF is kind of like the square.
That's so funny.
So Fit as Fuck, 6 weeks, like boot camp style. Like, we're not fucking around. Like, you're eating like a bodybuilder, you're lifting like a bodybuilder, and and then we'll go on from there. So it's my first time doing it. I feel comfortable in launching that for $500. Now, after I launch it and I go, well, you know what, maybe I could have given them more here, I could have given them more there.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's an $8.99 program. So I say that not like throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
A little more strategic than that,
Yeah, but
not
give 'em-
much. You
Right.
know?
Give them the best that you can
Right.
with what you have right now.
Yeah.
At the price that you think is fair.
Yes.
Because I would rather them go, holy shit, that was the best $500 I ever spent.
And it's life changing.
Right.
And then they tell their friends, and then you raise the price, and it's like, well, right, but that was round one.
Right, because now I've
Round
got
two.
1 million before and after photos and testimonials and proof.
Exactly. And you've modified, so it's not going to be
Right.
the same because you're improving the course too. But I think that comes back to a problem where people don't value their services or themselves enough, especially in the beginning, because you think like, oh, I'm new, I don't know what I'm talking about, and you just have to try it. But you still can, you have to figure out what's fair, like for the amount of time you're putting into it and for the clientele you're talking to, because a lot of people, I think, sell themselves short.
Oh my God, we need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking kidding you. I was 4 years into business, and if you broke down my packaging for weekly meal prep guides,
Oh,
fitness
geez.
programs, weekly weigh-ins, access to me 24/7, you're gonna die. $18 a week.
$18
Oh my God, I know!
Wait,
I know!
that's like $75 a month?
Oh my God, I know! Okay, but here's the thing. Hear me out. When you don't remember, I said I hired a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And it was $50 a session, 55 or something like that. It was a lot because I have an ex-husband that hasn't paid child support.
Right.
I'm like living in a suburb that's more expensive than where I came from.
Right.
So to me, that felt like a lot. So when I started my own business, I was like, well, if I paid this guy this much, then I probably got to be like this much because I'm not there with them personally and blah. But what I realized is that was skewed by my lack of financial comfort.
Yes. Your money mindset.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear people talk about money mindset, and I'm like, fuck off. But
Yeah.
it's true.
It is true.
It's true because like I just bought a course the other day and it was $500 and I was like, oh my gosh, it's fucking amazing. Like I have a business coach, okay?
Right.
And I bought this course for $500 because I'm like, what the fuck? I know I'm going to sell like 100 times more because I bought it.
Right.
I don't think of things that way, but in the beginning I did. Mm-hmm. And I thought like, well, I want everyone to be able to afford me. And I was just whoring myself
And you
out.
don't want to leave anybody out. And yeah.
And I'll tell you, if you don't have good boundaries, the people that pay you the least expect the most.
Oh, 100%. And they are the first ones to tell you that it's not working.
Right. And so you know what I tell them? Right, you're getting $37 worth
Yeah.
of service right now.
Exactly.
So I'd love to here's a different offering, but here's the thing, I fucking did the same shit, right? Because so I hired that trainer $55 and he's training me and I'm going, okay, so tell me what to eat. Like I'm trying to get shit out of him beyond my workout.
Right.
Because I was in a lack mindset.
Yes.
Because I didn't have that kind of financial freedom. So it's not wrong that they're doing it. It's natural, but it's my responsibility to say, like, that's an excellent question, but that's not covered in this program.
Right. Because you have to uphold your own boundaries and your own standards of your business. And what I have found is that people who have that mindset, the lack mindset, it's replicated in other ways in their life. So in your situation, if it's coming back to like them trying to figure out, they want more help from you, then you can probably look somewhere else in their life where that mindset is coming into play, and you can figure out like this is a habit they have of doing it. Like for me, it's with people who expect way more for my services than what they're paying are usually not charging enough for their own services.
Right? Or I see people on like Facebook groups talking about couponing, and I'm like,
Yes.
if you spent an eighth of the time couponing and actually, but that's where we're different, because they're regular people with regular jobs that their boss determines what they make.
Right.
So we're like in this different, again, a weird thing I was thinking about, that friggin', what's that show with Winona Ryder that's on Stranger Things?
Oh, yeah.
Like when they walk into that other universe and it's like kind of slimy and they slip through, almost like a woman's vagina, which I think it's almost like they're leaving the different universes because of, I do think that that's symbolism of some sort. I mean, maybe I'm just really, maybe I have some Freudian shit to handle. I don't know. But I think that they're on a different playing field than we are.
Yeah.
Like, we don't think about things like a high functioning entrepreneur is like, I don't give a fuck with $500. I'm gonna buy it and it's gonna make me like,
Exactly.
right, where someone else is going, well, I don't know, is it gonna work for me? And then you go, you're right, it's not, because you have to work for it.
Exactly.
So if you're in the mindset it's gonna work for you, then you have missed the boat, my friend.
And that's funny that we're talking about this, because I wrote about this today when I was journaling, and I've been thinking about it this week. Like, sometimes I feel behind in my career journey, like, oh God, like my income is not where I thought it'd be at 32 or 31.
No one thinks that.
No,
I mean, nobody is happy at 32.
But then I think, or like, even if I'm comparing myself to my friends or other people my age and looking at what they're making and their roles and titles, and then I think, yeah, but like in the next 5 to 10 years, I have unlimited income potential, right? Like, because I work for myself now, so I have the power to max that out wherever I want to. Whereas if you're in the corporate structure, you pretty much know where your income is going to go for the next 5 to 10 years.
Always.
And it's going to be capped.
And I was a drug addict at 32. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is so, I feel bad for those. I mean, I guess they're trading, right? They're trading comfort,
Right, for security.
yeah, where to me the thrill of the ups and downs, as sick as they can be, right, are the best part.
Right.
Like when I'm not selling something big, I'm feeling unfulfilled. It's kind of like being a bungee jumper.
Yeah, it's the risk.
Yeah.
The risk factor. And I think the more you do that, whether it's in the gym, because you lift heavy. So if you're pushing your weight up and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get this up or not, or if I'm going to squat and not come back up, there's that risk factor there that you have to shoot for. And when you get into the habit of doing that, whether it's the adrenaline or whatever chemical reactions are happening in your mind, just the habit you're creating of like shooting for something, you can't not do that anymore, because then you're bored. Like if I go to the gym and I have a half-ass day, I leave and I think, that was a half-ass workout. But if I go to the gym, like yesterday, I like pushing the sled a lot. And that's the one thing about I have an at-home gym in my mom's garage, but we don't have a sled. But anyway, so I love the sled because you can like exhaust yourself.
It's a great workout.
Yes. And so I ended with that yesterday because it was a flow state end. So I just wanted to be like calm down. And I do that a lot too, where my workouts are based on what state I want to be in when I leave. So like if I'm going to exhaust myself, then I probably don't have a lot to do after that. Like I can go home.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like thinking, or if I have a lot of tasks to do, then I do a task-oriented workout, and then I go like straight back to work or whatever.
Oh, so. You're amazing. No, I just destroy myself every chance I can get.
Which feels good too, but then
I'm tired.
You're tired. Yeah. And so if you think about it that way, so like if I'm going to end on an EMOM, so 7 minutes of explosive movement, like 2 movements, 5 box jumps and 5 barbell rows or whatever, then that's task oriented, because it's those 2 every minute on the minute for 7 minutes. And then you're like, okay, I'm up. Mm-hmm. You're up. But then
what is that, CrossFit?
That's, kind of CrossFit principles, but do you know who Julian Pineau is? Strong Fit?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
the kind of thing. Yeah, so I do more like like a merge between powerlifting and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
That too.
We should do each other's workouts.
We should. Because I did Olympic weightlifting in high school for a little bit, and then I was like, when I moved back here, I would just turn 30, I think, or maybe like 29. I was doing powerlifting at
That's
Jack
my favorite.
Gym. Yeah. I mean, there's just like putting up that kind of weight. It's amazing.
I have never been so ripped in my life, and I'm well on my way again. Like right after my dad died, right when my dad got sick,
yeah,
I wasn't eating. Like I would be sitting here sweating, and I'm like, I'm fine, everything's fine. Like I was so fucked up, but because I'm such a like an alpha female state, I was like, everything's fine, and I lost so much muscle that I've been trying to get back. But I do powerlifting, but I don't even squat with the rack.
Oh, you don't?
On purpose. So I have a squat rack, but I walk out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Because here's why.
Whoops. Yes, it's working. I just had to log back in.
There's no other answer but to get it back up.
Yeah.
So if you can dump it, you're gonna dump it when it gets hard. If your husband isn't there to, I don't recommend this at home, kids, because I've gotten to a point where I know my body well enough. But I think that if I'm in a squat rack, I'm gonna dump it when it gets hard. But what about, and that's so business, right? What are you gonna just dump your business when it gets hard? No.
I mean, not that you won't think about it, but
right. But you gotta get it back up. Right. Otherwise, you gotta dump that thing on your garage floor, because you really could. That's the thing too, like squat racks, like yeah, they're fine, but you could also just let the weight go. Like that is an option.
Yeah, the only time it's not an option is bench press.
Yes,
that's the scary. I don't, because I do it a lot.
But even still, though, you could dump it. Like you could dump it to the side. Yeah. Like unless you're a huge dude that's got like several plates on the sides. I've had to dump it before.
It's scary when you have to dump it, but yeah, when you're in the gym, so at home, whether you're squatting or at the gym too, it's scary because you're like, fuck, I don't want to dump this in front of all these people. Like, I don't want to not get it back up, but then I find sometimes I leave there and I think like,
could I have done more? Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly why I don't.
Yep. And I think like, yeah, I probably could have. And what's the worst that'll happen? You'll dump it.
Right.
What? It'll make a loud noise. Mm-hmm. And if you're using bumper plates, it'll bounce.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Also, those bumper plates, when I first started working out, I was like, look at how much she's lifting. I'm like, wait a minute, that fucking plate weighs 5 pounds. Like,
which is something you have to watch on Instagram.
Yes, because like when I lift fucking weights, it's like 240 pounds. Yes. And it looks like, and if you're a CrossFit chick, you got these bumper plates to here, and you look like you're so strong. And I'm like, bitch, that ain't
nothing.
See, I'm getting really petty.
but it's true because it's so deceiving, and people do that intentionally. So they won't tell you the weight that they're putting on the squat rack, but it looks like, because they're using bumper plates, 1,000,000 pounds. So I did sled drags last night, 270 pounds. And it was to exhaust me. And that's what I wanted, was just to exhaust me. And like, I needed that depletion because Monday, I woke up yesterday and I thought it was Saturday. Monday was a whole week.
I shit you not. I woke up this morning and said to my husband, it's Friday, right?
I know. I'm like, what day is it? What's happening? So I needed that workout. And it just feels so good when you leave there and you're like proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how I know that, one, I can do more. The gym, to me, there's like no other bar that gets set. Like, I set the bar at the highest in the gym. So outside of that, I compare everything. Like, I know if I can do more in the gym, or if I'm having like a shitty day in the gym, that's probably reflective of my business or whatever else is happening that day. So I have to push it. And that's where my brother was a personal trainer. But he did work for a corporate gym for a while, and now he's like doing his own thing.
Good for him, because it's probably squashing.
Oh my God, it killed him. And because it's sales. They don't give a shit about the people.
And the training is so bad. And if your client wants to squat and they're morbidly obese, you still have to let them squat. It's like, And
there are no unconventional methods that they're like, and so he's branched out on his own. So he does strong fit principles. Like that's his thing. And he pushes himself to a level in his workouts that I don't think I've ever seen anyone do alone. Like, it's hard to go that intense alone.
So this is a cool conversation because I was doing a Facebook Live last week about how, okay, the way that I feel is this. If I stand, I have to stand for something, otherwise I stand for nothing.
Right.
And I think CrossFit's ridiculous, and I think Orange Theory is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Because
that shit is scary.
It's scary, it's stupid, it's bad for your body, but also know that I have to stand for something. Like, otherwise I'm going to be like, everything's great, okay?
Right.
But she was thinking that she was doing these good workouts, and it's like, you have no fucking idea what a good workout is. And then the idea that if you're going to Orange Theory and the only reason you're pushing yourself is because someone's yelling at you, you have no internal fight. You're still looking for external stimulants to tell you that you need to work harder. And what I'm teaching women to do is look inside themselves and find that thing that's telling you, bitch, do one more. Right.
Yeah.
Like, do one more. Like your brother is. I'm sure he gives way more than I do and can bring it to a different level.
It's just,
but that's so true. And that's why I hate group fitness. Because if you need somebody to yell at you and exhaust you, you're missing the point. You need to yell at you.
Yeah. And I think group fitness is good if you're competitive.
Right. Or I think there's places too. Right. Like if you're new, right? And you need the motivation.
It's a good way to integrate you to the whole thing. But and if you're like, and now have worked out alone for a long time. So like the past few years, aside from my brother. But like anytime I go to a group class, then I'm like, I have to be better. I have to like beat that person because I just am competitive by nature. But if you're that competitive, then likely you're competitive with yourself too. And so you want to lift more than you did yesterday or go farther or whatever the case may be. But just to achieve, like, once you tap into that shit, I think you said it on your podcast. Or maybe I was listening to another one this morning. But anyway, about how like, once you see what you can do, then you're so proud of that, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do more. I can definitely do more.
For sure, because that was my aha moment. That was, where some people are like, I want to start a business, and I don't know what kind. No, like to me, it was like calling. It was like it was something. It wasn't a choice.
Oh, yeah.
And I truly believe that when I'm in my zone of genius and I'm delivering and I'm just fucking nailing it, it's because I'm doing what I was meant to do.
Have you read The Big Leap?
I am.
Is that why you said zone of genius?
No, but I have read that book.
That too. Yeah.
I like that book. And not a lot of people that I know like that book. And I like it.
And you know who does too? Tammy. She recommended I read that.
Well, so a girlfriend of mine, my best girlfriend, hey girl, Samantha.
So if Samantha makes it to this point, we will send her a gift.
Hey girl, she's not. She's too busy slaying. But my best friend Samantha lives in Denver, and she's a business coach. And so often I'll say like, hey girl, like, what are you reading? Fucking tell me right now. Because what the dog shit. Okay, Girl Wash Your Face is dog shit.
But did you read it?
I fucking read it. And I also did a YouTube video because this was the former me who was like, it's great. Because I knew my ideal client would like it.
Yeah.
I'm deleting that shit because it wasn't fucking great. It was terrible. Her husband treats her like shit.
Oh, but really?
It's stupid. It's fucking terrible. And also what she's saying is so basic. It's saying, do it anyway. I get that, bitch. But like, people have... It's more than that.
Do you think that there is a business or a movement happening right now? Because this is what I think. On women capitalizing on women not being able to do it.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm really careful of that because I could align with that, right?
Right.
So I think in Rachel Hollis's defense, Rachel Hollis was speaking to middle class, privileged white women who husbands worked, they didn't, and she had and they had toddlers, because she used to speak at MOPS, which is Mothers of Preschoolers in like Christian schools.
Yeah.
So that message is very aligned with those women, right? Because they haven't been persecuted, because their father was in the picture, because their mother wasn't an addict. So when she comes and she's like, just wash your fucking face, like, those middle privileged white women get it.
Right.
So I do think, in Rachel's defense, like, I know my ideal client is 35 to 50-year-old female who's college educated and has a career.
Right.
Probably childhood trauma. But if I release a book, which I am, but if I release a book, you know, that's not going to necessarily speak to a 20-year-old girl in foster care.
Yes.
So I get that, but I also think there is this broad stroke of like, just buck up, buckaroo. And so I'm writing a book, and my friend asked me, what's your book like? And I'm like, well, it's like if Eminem wrote Girl Wash Your Face, but it had the research of Brene Brown.
See, that's the level of, I think grit. It comes back to that, because I read half of Rachel Hollis's book, and then I had to give it away for the last Race Your Vibe event. I'm like, half is
That's good enough. I got the zhish.
Yeah, I did. And I think some of her principles were good, like, especially when she's talking about her 19-year-old self and how she acted, but like, also there were things I couldn't relate to about her 19-year-old self and my 19-year-old self. Like, we are not on the same path at 19. So I have a hard time relating, and this goes for a lot of people right now, that I have a hard time relating to people who are on their way to making $10 million. And they're like, but I started just like you, and I couldn't pay my bills, and I didn't know where, all this shit. And I'm like, but that's not your case anymore. So can you talk about that? Like, you should, it's your journey, but you shouldn't be trying to empathize with other people on that point anymore, because that's not where you are.
Also, what she's not telling you is that her father, like, they were very well off.
Well, right. He was a preacher, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the documentary. I
can't, because my ideal client, like, I will go to a networking event, and every woman's like, oh my God, have you seen... oh my God, Rachel Hollis.
Yeah.
Or then now it's like, oh my God, are you Marie Kondoing? It's like, no, that fucking book was out years ago.
It was out so many years ago.
But the thing is that because we're entrepreneurs,
right?
Like, women that have a fucking job, they're not in that realm. And I don't mean it in a shitty way. It's not. It's because that's part of what keeps our fire. So you have a job, and if you need to learn new curriculum, your boss tells you that, and you know that. But with us, we don't know where the next thing's coming. Yeah. So we need to have a leg up on the competition. So we're hungry in a different way.
Right. I think that's 100% true. I did Marie Kondo my shit, though.
Yeah.
And it felt really good.
But I Marie Kondo'd my fucking shit out of, for me, it's like, it's so hard. I met with this business coach because I had this free consultation thing. I never had intentions. And she was like, you should be a business coach. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why would I be a business coach? Like, I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to change women's lives, And I can get such a tunnel vision. Like, I literally don't care. We talked about this. I don't care about decorating my house. I don't care about that shit. Right. I am so thirsty for, like, I wish valuable content rose to the level that Girl Wash Your Face did. Yeah. And I won't fucking rest until a real version of what living in America that's not privileged looks like. Right. And it's not Girl Wash Your fucking face. Yes. I'll tell you that.
But it is for some people, though, right? For her audience, that's a real version.
It is, but who needs that? Yeah. Are the woman that's not their reality.
Right. It's a different, definitely a different story. But there's something
like, I'm sorry. You get to sit at home and your husband makes, 6 figures and you raise okay. If I had those problems, But I don't. I have bigger people problems.
And that's
my message is like bigger fucking people problems.
Right. And I think for her, but for that segment of the market, those are their problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for
You're right. But on
the
a
Rachel
scale-
Hollises out there.
But on a scale of suffering, I don't really
yeah.
give two shits about that.
Right. And there were things, oh shit, there was something else. Oh, what I think is missing from the dialogue about Rachel Hollis and Girl Wash Your Face is like the all of the books she did before that. Like she didn't just come in and write Girl Wash Your Face and then it was like a national, hit bestseller, because she had a whole series before and like this,
and they're also her talks. They're her talks transcribed.
her cookbooks. She has cookbooks. Like there's this whole slew of background information that if you listen to her, she will tell you about, but it's missing from like the general dialogue.
And I don't think that's even her fault. Except
I don't think that's her fault.
For
No.
her. Oh, I get what was that?
The camera died.
Camera's like fuck it. Oh my god, are you
Is it
gonna
1
fucking
o'clock?
eat a burger with me or something?
Yeah, we better.
We need to go.
That's it. Okay. Well, on that note,
We can finish that later.
Yeah. Cheers.
I need I need to eat something because I've been really on a good diet.
We have been. What? Is it 1 o'clock for
This
real?
is how our conversation was last time.
Oh my god.